What if I told the cops about what you're doing here, huh? Bet that'd change things pretty fucking fast.
I've seen a lot of grown men get put down by kids out here.
Tell her to do something. Because if she don't, I will.
Scrap didn't deserve how we did him, man. It's my fault. It's your son's dead.
Your stupid little brother went to Scrap Mom's house, and then she came to the precinct.
Your brother needs to make this shit right.
I'm on.
Enemies are dangerous, especially when they're family.
I stand none of this.
Extreme circumstances call for extreme action.
Welcome back, Top Notch Gang. In this video, as you can see, we're diving into all the deaths we're possibly gonna see for the remainder of Raising Kanan season 3, and there are 5 people we have to dive into, and I'm gonna do it in order of I think definitely gonna die, most likely gonna die, and there's a small chance or probability, and we're gonna go into all the clues, details of why. I made a death predictions video at the beginning of the season, but I only predicted 3 people, 2 who came true already. I talked about Officer Berg, who we saw was killed off in the episode 1 by Officer Howard, and I think this could possibly be the thing that sets Jukebox on the path of becoming an officer. I also mentioned Unique, who was killed off in the mid-season finale by his own brother Ronnie. By this clue, I think that he has a problem with his brother, possibly his relationship with Rock, how he was running the streets when he was away. I think he kind of fulfilled what his role was there for, and I think everyone pretty much thinks he's an enjoyable character, but I think the tables just have turned, and it's at the point where he kind of is expendable. And the third person I talked about was Famous, who will be on the list. We're going to talk about him later in this video. So I think I'm pretty much spot on with how I see these deaths playing out, and we know the end of the season for power shows, they start ramping up, a lot of crazy shit start happening. There's a lot of clues and hints from the trailers that we haven't seen yet within the show. The drive-by on Rock's car, her shooting somebody at gunpoint, getting another kill. We of course see the gun to Lou's head. We see Marvin handing Lou a gun. So we're just gonna go ahead and dive into everything. As usual, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into it. Now, the first 2 people, I'll do them 2 together, and these are the people I think are for certain gonna die before the end of the season. And some people might see them as not as important, but I think they'll play important and key factors on the characters that do kill them. So those 2 characters are of course Shantel and Paul, and I'll run through them pretty quickly. Now, Paul, we've seen over the course of the season, Kanan went to him so he could get the courier business up and running, and Paul in the last episode came to him and told him that all the couriers are coming to him, he's ruining his business, and he even threatened to go to the cops.
What if I told the cops about what you're doing here, huh? Bet that'd change things pretty fucking fast.
And Kanan told him, you're not gonna step to me like that, you're not gonna talk to me like that, and he tried to call him a kid, tried to son him, talking about, are you gonna fight me at recess? And Kanan said he's seen a lot of kids put grown men down. And what's funny about this is Ronnie was in the background, so I think he might push Kanan or possibly Famous, we're gonna talk about that later, to take out Paul in these following episodes so the courier business is truly theirs. What's interesting about this as well is this is not the first time Paul came to Kanan about the courier is not working for him anymore. He came to him early in the season. Kanan gave him some extra money, and he told Kanan when he's gone, he's gonna still need a business, so Kanan might need to wrap this up. And Kanan told him, I'm not going anywhere.
After you're gone, I still need a job.
I ain't going nowhere, Paul.
So this is like the second time Kanan has threatened him, and once you talk about going to the cops, it's time to get you out of here. And Ronnie, he doesn't take too kindly to these games, these back and forths, so I think he's gonna get either Kanan or Famous to show his loyalty to take Paul out once and for all. So I definitely don't think he's making it to the end of the season. Next up, of course, like I said, is Shantel. We finally saw at the end of episode 6, Lou went to her house and told them that it was them that took out Scrap. We see in episode 7, she's gonna go straight to the cops with this information, and luckily for them, it was Howard. Howard is gonna relay this information back to Rock. Rock tells Marvin, and Marvin and Lou has to go and handle this. Now, of course, we see the picture of the gun to Lou's head. This nigga wasn't prepared, but Shantel definitely was prepared for them to come back around around this time. She wasn't gonna get caught lacking, so she got this nigga at gunpoint. But we do see in a clip prior to that, Marvin is on the hit with him. He's the one who hands Lou a gun. I think Marvin comes in for the save, and after this, Lou is completely out of it. And that's why we see in the descriptions for episode 8 and 9, it talks about Lou being a despondent and a liability, basically someone who lost all hope in anything in life. Their spirit is just low. And it also says he goes missing in episode 9, and Marvin desperately searches for Lou. So I think this will come at the expense of Shantel's life. This will be the third person that's weighing on Lou's heart with D-Wiz and with Scrap. So I think this is the end for Shantel for sure. So my two for certain kills are Paul and Shantel. You guys can let me know what you think about those kills down below, but I think they're pretty much goners. Now next up, and the only person in our most likely, or there's a good probability of it happening, is Juliana. Now I'm gonna make a whole video on her by itself, explaining her relationship with Ronnie and how I think they plan on taking out Rock and her cousin. Now first off, look at her ceiling in this scene right here when Ronnie comes and enters her house. Pay attention to the ceiling right here, because I'm about to get back to it later. They're gonna put it into motion. We see in the trailer for episode 7, she's talking to him about family and how that is dangerous. She's gonna be planning on targeting taking out her cousin, so she has complete control of his organization, and she's gonna put Ronnie up to the task. We also know she's been beefing with Rock over the course of this season. She didn't want to let Rock out the game. She said Rock was dangerous, and Rock been told her that I always win. I think this will be a failed hit on her cousin that gets her taken out, and this is why we see Rock shooting someone or with the gun in the trailer, and I think that's who she will be killing in the scene. Now if you look at the two ceilings, I think they're pretty identical. I think she will be killing Juliana in her own house, and Joaquin will give her the kill. He'll let her kill Juliana for her being disloyal, and they'll have no beef whatsoever. Once again, we're gonna make a full video diving into all the clues and hints with this, but I couldn't make a full depth predictions for the rest of the season without talking about Juliana. We already seen her making moves and working with Ronnie behind her cousin's back as is, and a lot of people think her and Ronnie are gonna form a relationship based off the small snippet we seen in episode 7. Ronnie doesn't seem like that type of guy, so that would be interesting if their relationship do start to take off or they get involved in that way. We're gonna have to just wait and see, but a lot of people think the drive-by scene of them shooting up the car, this could possibly be Ronnie or Juliana sending out this hit. We're gonna have to just wait and see, because this drive-by scene can honestly be used in multiple cases. Now the last three people is a very small percentage, and that's Iesha, Famous, and Ronnie. And we're gonna quickly run through all, because there's bits and clues and hints there, but not enough like the other three kills for me to be certain about any of this. So I'm just gonna give you these theories that's been going around, that's been in my mind. First off, Iesha. We all know Jukebox in the original Power never got a chance to fulfill and live out her dream. We know they're about to have their first performance very soon, and Jukebox is of course the leader of the group. But we also have been seeing that throughout the entirety of the season, them foreshadowing her going to the military, even in the last episode showing her getting her test scores back for the ASVAB, and they've been hinting at that, like I said, the entire season ever since Burke died. She went and signed up, she went and got a physical, she was looking at pamphlets. So I think of course by the end of the season this girl group is gonna disband, and the reason is gonna be most likely the death of Iesha. And how I see this playing out is, of course, Kanan's already getting Iesha involved into his life of what he got going on. He brought her to the club, everything like that, and we know Kanan and Jukebox is about to have a falling off. They've already had problems, arguments, and in the next episode Jukebox is going to be telling Rock Kanan's business, and we're going to see both of them get into a standoff with one another. I think what ultimately possibly could end up happening is Kanan putting Iesha in harm's way. She ends up dying. I seen some theories saying the drive-by scene, Iesha could possibly be in that car, they're all together or shit like that, and she gets taken out, and that leads to Kanan and Jukebox getting into a big fight, possibly the fight Courtney Kemp was talking about, where Jukebox gave Kanan his scar. Now of course Courtney Kemp is no longer with the show, it's Sasha Penn, but if they were to give Kanan his scar, this could be a way it takes place, and it leads to Jukebox joining the army as they've been heading to the entirety of the season. On to Famous, who was actually the third person I predicted at the beginning of the season. We're here, and the thing about Famous is it just feels like his time. He doesn't really want to get back in the game. He's having these nightmares. He's back smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, and he's kind of losing his mind. We know he's dropped the song 411 confessing to the murder of Freddie. We got to see how that situation continues to play out, and we know going into episode 7, Ronnie is going to confront him, says Kanan told him he likes running his mouth. And I mentioned earlier, Ronnie might put him up to the task of killing Paul, of being the one to take him out. And I think this makes sense. Famous might not want to do it. And I think ultimately he died of circumstance or trying to help or save Kanan. A lot of people point out, of course, Kanan went on to name his own son Shawn. And a lot of people say he wouldn't do that if Famous was a snitch, he wasn't about that life, or if he wasn't his friend in the end. So I think ultimately he possibly can give up his life for Kanan in the long run, and that's what ends up making him lose his life. But overall, we just don't know with Famous yet. That's why this part of the video is so fast, because it's high on people's mind that his time is coming, but we just don't have enough clues and details just yet. And the last person I mentioned was Ronnie. Now, a lot of people is going to think this is crazy, but he's strictly on the list for 2 reasons. One, a lot of people are saying he's already confirmed to be a lead character in a new show, so he won't be around much longer in power. And also, we know it's going to come to a point where Kanan has to make a decision between Rock and Ronnie, and I think ultimately he will choose Rock. We see this scene in the trailer of them looking back and forth like a big moment just went down, and I think this is where they possibly could kill Ronnie. Now, a lot of people think Ronnie is Breeze, and of course he's the main villain of the entire season. He's took out other characters, so a lot of people think he's going to be around much longer, but I strictly think him taking out Dean or Unique specifically is because Joey Badass didn't want to play the character anymore, so they wanted to hype up and make Ronnie as much a villain as possible before they got rid of the Unique character. But I think they kind of rushed that, so that's why people think he's gonna be around for the long run if he took out a character like Unique. But once again, this is all little evidence, little hints. I don't really know, and that's why he's at this part of the video where there's a small percent chance, but not a lot of clues and hints that could point towards it. Overall though, that's it for this video. You guys can let me know down below which characters do you believe die before the end of season 3. I think out of the 6 characters I named, 3 to 4 is damn near guaranteed. Not necessarily that 3 or 4 of them, but 3 or 4 kills before the end of the season for sure. If I had to put my money on anybody, it would be Shantel and Juliana. But once again, you guys can let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments, and give me your own theories for these characters and their deaths. As usual, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.